Hi everyone, and welcome back to another session of Building Blocks. I'm Judy Brown from the Little Fabric Garden, and I'm here to finish up our Stripping on the Square quilt. And for those people that did not see session 1, you'll have to go back to watch it, but I just want to kind of go over what we did. Stripping on the Square quilt starts with 9 fat quarters, and these are the fabrics that we used, and they were all fat quarters. And a fat quarter is 18 by 22 inches. So we had 9 fat quarters, we had 1/3 of a yard of inside border, and we had 1 1/3 yards of outside border for the outside border and binding. So what we ended up doing is we put our fat quarters out and we cut them like this. We cut a 6.5 inch strip, and then we cut 3 2.5 inch strips that we were going to need. All right, so we took the 6.5 inch strip and we cut them into 6.5 inch squares, and then the 2.5 inch strips, we matched them up with different colors and we sewed them together to have a strip set of 3 fabrics. So after we got the strip sets cut or sewn together, then we turned it and then we cut those into 6.5 inch squares. So we ended up with 27 squares of just from the 6.5 inch strip, and we ended up with 27 squares that were strip sets. Now, in session 1, I forgot to tell you about cutting your inside and outside border. So the inside border, you were to cut 5 2-inch strips, and then you would sew those together end to end. And the outside border, you would cut at 5 inches, and there were 6 strips that you would cut with that. And then of course the binding would be cut at 2.5 inches, and that was going to be from this fabric, but I didn't cut it because as I was going along, I thought maybe what I would do is take what I had left here and cut those into 2.5 inch strips, and then use the different fabrics as the binding going around. I haven't, decided for sure, but that's what I was thinking about. So I had my stack of squares and I had my stack of strip set squares, and so I had to start putting everything together. So I'm going to move over and I'm going to show you what I did. All right, follow me over here. All right, so here we are, and I laid out row 1, and I always start with a solid square, and we have a solid square and then a strip set, and then another solid square and a strip set. But when I do the second strip set, I have it going horizontal. This one was going vertical, then I switched it, then I put another square and then another strip set, and again I switched it. So we have a vertical, horizontal, vertical. And then when I go to the second row, I am going to start with a strip set. And I have them right here, and I'm going to start it. So since this one was a vertical, then I'm going to put a horizontal one here. Now you don't have to do it that way. You can do it any way you want to, and I thought I had everything just perfect, and I had everything laid out, and took a picture of it, and ended up deleting the picture by some magic. And then when I went to sew some of the things together, or to really take a better look at them, I wasn't real happy with how I had laid them out. So, you can switch things around however you want to, and you can lay these strip sets any way you want to also. So, all right, so we're going to do a horizontal, and then another solid. All right, so now we're going to a vertical, and you see, I really don't like to do this, but it's going to have to be. That's just the way it's going to have to be. Oops. And then this solid, and this guy's going to go like this, and then we have this. All right, so you can see that it's just every other one. And like I said, you take a look at it, you can do some switching around. I just may, you know what? No, that's not gonna work either. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it because I'm gonna just make it worse if I start switching things around now. All right, so I'm gonna go to the sewing machine and I'm going to sew these together, and I am going to sew the second row together also. All right, and so I am going to start sewing these together, and again, they're straight, so I'm not going to pin them. Probably would be smart to pin them, but I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Sometimes I don't make very good decisions. Those two, and I leave the row number on here so that I don't really get messed up putting them all back together. All right, so I'm going to put this one on here and bring it to the machine. And it will continue like this, and then when we get the two rows together, then I will take them over to the ironing board and I will press them, making sure that the seams on one go one way and the seams on like the second row go the other way, so that I can lock them in place when I go to put the rows together. As you can see, I've got row 1 and row 2 already sewed together, and I took them to the ironing board and I pressed them, and the row 1 I pressed going this way, row 2 I pressed going this way, so that when I put the blocks together I will be able to lock them in place, so that one isn't like sticking way out over here, you know, and that's a good way to do it. They call it nesting when you're able to get those seams together like that. So I'm going to fold 2 over 1, and the first thing I do is I nest those blocks, those seams where they come together. I nest them in there, and that's where I put my pins. And then I'll go back and put one in between. So I nest that, I lock in place. Feels kind of nice when you get them in there, and they lock in there. You can feel it. You slide it in, and when it hits, that's when you stop. All right. And again, everything is 1/4 inch when you sew it. Just a reminder on that. I'm sure that you remember. I say it enough times for you to remember that. All right. And I'm going to put this over here, and you can see that this one is a little bit bigger, but when I get all of the rows together, then I'll go back and I'll trim it out so that it is square and that everything is even. All right, so let's get this here. I'm going to stick one in between. Boy, these strings really show up on this black, don't they? Whew. All right, back to the machine we go. Get all the pins out, and then I will take it over and I will press it. All right, as you can see, I have the 2 rows that we just put together, and then I really cheated. I had put rows 3 through 9 together at home and had it ready to go. So you can see that we have 6 blocks going across, and we will have 9 blocks going down totally. So there's 54 blocks in the whole quilt. So now what we have to do is to take this section and we're going to put it to this, just like we did the others. But if you take a good look, you're going to see, like with that nesting that I did, because I nested them in, that those seams are right together. You know, it really makes it look better if you can get them nested. You know, sometimes it just doesn't work out. One piece might be a little off, and it might be off a little bit, and that's no big deal. You know, don't worry about that. But it's always nice when you open it up and it's like, woo, I got them right together just the way they were supposed to be. So, all right, I am going to pin this to this, and then I'm going to sew it, and then I will be back and show you about the inside and outside border. All right, so I sewed the two rows 1 and 2 to the rest of the body, and so this is what it looks like now. This is the middle section of the quilt. And it, you know, it's just a really nice, gentle, springy, you know, fabric. It just really is very pretty. So the next thing we need to do is to put on the inside border, and then we will be putting on the outside border. And as I said before, these are cut at 2 inches. There were 5 strips, and they are already sewed together. Putting them on will be easy. I'm just going to explain to you what I did, and I'm going to do the sides first, and I will cut 2 pieces that are 56 inches long, and they will go on the sides. I will sew one on the left and one on the right, and it will, you know, look like this. And then after I get that done, then I will sew 2. I will cut 2 at I think it's 40, hang on, yeah, 2 at 40 inches, and then we will put those one on the top and one on the bottom. And after we get those sewed on, we'll move over and we'll do the same for this. The side ones will be cut around 59 inches, cut 2 of them, and then we will do the top and bottom. What I really need to make a point on is that you need to measure your things before you cut them. All right, I'm saying 56 inches when we first put this on, but measure it to make sure that yours is 56. Although, you know, we say that we have a 1/4 inch foot, and, you know, a 1/4 of an inch should be the same on everything, but it really isn't. Different feet make them a little bit, some are like a scant 1/4 inch, some are a little bit fatter than that. So what I suggest is that you measure your sides, then cut your inside border, sew it on, then measure across the top, and, you know, every time you're going to put another layer on, then measure it again to make sure that you get the right size. There's nothing more frustrating than, you know, like going to sew it on or pin it on, and you get down to the bottom and your strip is this much too short, and then you got to go piece it back together. I've been there, done that many times. So just make sure that, you know, you measure it so that you don't have to do that. And after you get it all together, you can kind of see what it's going to look like. It really is going to look, you know, very pretty. And like I said, I was originally going to use this fabric as my binding too, and I have it, I just haven't cut it, because now I'm thinking maybe I should use the pieces that are left over from all of this to sew together to make the binding, kind of bring it in together. I'm not quite so sure what I'm going to do, but so that's as far as we're going to go with this right now. I think from the directions, I think that you'll be able to, you know, to figure out what's going on. It really is a very easy quilt to put together, and like I said, it's my go-to pattern when I get a bunch of fabric in at the store, because it goes together quite easily, and there's no problems. And I probably could cut it in my sleep now because I've done it so many times. So you'll be able to find the pattern at the library, also on the website, and you can get it here at the store too. And if you ever have any questions, all you have to do is give a holler. And we would absolutely love to see some of these if you put them together. I know people are making them, but nobody's putting them on. So, but we would really, really love to see, you know, what you would do. Remember, 9 fat quarters, 1/3 of a yard for inside border, 1 1/3 yards for outside border, and the binding. So get to it. All right, I'd love to see it. Have a great day. Thanks for stopping in. Bye-bye.